A chilling winter dawn in 866 AD. The city of York lies still beneath a blanket of frost, its people unaware that death sails silently up the River Ouse. Leading this storm is Ivar the Boneless, a man as terrifying as he is enigmatic. With no bones in his body, or so the legends say, he commands fear with his ruthless brilliance. This is England in the 9th century. Fractured kingdoms, rival kings, and an open door to invaders. In this video, we uncover how Ivar turned terror into strategy and York into the cornerstone of a Norse kingdom. In the years before 866 AD, England wasn't one kingdom. It was a patchwork of rivals: Northumbria, Mercia, Wessex, and East Anglia. Each stood divided, each vulnerable. Northumbria was the weakest of them all. Torn by civil strife, it had two kings, Osbert, the former ruler, and Ella, a power-hungry usurper. Their bitter feud fractured the kingdom from within, leaving it exposed. Viking raids, once seasonal, were evolving. The Norse no longer came just to pillage, they came to conquer. In 865 AD, a force unlike any before landed in East Anglia, the Great Heathen Army. A coalition of hardened Viking warbands had arrived, led by Ivar the Boneless and his brothers. But this invasion wasn't only for land or gold, it was for blood. Legend tells of Ragnar Lothbrok's death in a pit of snakes. Ivar came to avenge his father, with fire, steel, and terror. Ivar the Boneless, a name whispered with fear across Anglo-Saxon lands. He was the son of Ragnar Lothbrok, the legendary Viking hero whose death would ignite a firestorm of vengeance. His nickname, Boneless, has puzzled historians for centuries. Was it a real medical condition like brittle bone disease, or did it describe his snake-like agility on the battlefield? Some believe it was metaphorical, symbolizing a man without fear, without weakness. What's certain is Ivar's mind. He wasn't just a warrior, he was a tactician, calculated, cold-blooded, and master of psychological warfare. His army followed him not as looters, but as professionals. Disciplined, unified, and deadly, Ivar understood that terror could be a weapon. He didn't just break his enemies with swords, he broke their will before the battle began. Through fear, strategy, and sheer presence, Ivar built a legend that shook the foundations of kingdoms. York, not just any city. It was the religious and political heart of Northumbria, the crown jewel of the North. Whoever held York held power over the kingdom's soul. Ivar the Boneless understood that better than anyone. In late 866, Ivar and his brother Ubba arrived at York with the full force of the Great Heathen Army. Their siege was swift and suffocating. The city, unprepared and isolated, braced for disaster. Then came the twist. On March 21st, 867, the warring Northumbrian kings, Osbert and Ella, joined forces to reclaim York. It was a desperate gamble. They launched a bold assault, confident they could catch the Vikings off guard. But Ivar had planned for this. He pretended to retreat, luring the Northumbrian army into the city. Once inside, the gates slammed shut. In the chaos of narrow alleys and tight corners, the Viking counterattack exploded. Blood soaked the streets. Both kings fell. Ella, legend claims, was captured alive. The Norse sagas say he was executed by the blood eagle, a ritual so gruesome it's hard to imagine. Ribs split from the spine, lungs pulled out like wings. Whether truth or terrifying myth, it sent a chilling message. With York secured, Ivar turned conquest into domination. He ruled through fear. Churches were desecrated, executions held in public, and resistance was answered with brutality. York wasn't just conquered, it was transformed. A Viking capital now stood where an Anglo-Saxon stronghold had fallen. The Siege of York wasn't just a military victory. It was psychological warfare at its finest. Ivar didn't just win. He made sure everyone remembered how he won. And in doing so, he reshaped England's destiny. With York crushed and its kings dead, Ivar wasted no time consolidating power. He installed puppet rulers loyal to the Norse cause and fortified Viking control. The city was reborn as Jorvik, not just a symbol of conquest, but the beating heart of Viking England. Unlike a brute warlord, Ivar was shrewd. He ruled through both terror and tolerance. Some Anglo-Saxon laws and institutions were left intact to maintain order, while Norse customs reshaped the city's identity. Trade flourished, streets were rebuilt, and Jorvik thrived as a bustling Norse city-state. But it wasn't peace. It was control. Fear of Viking retaliation kept rebellion in check. Public punishments and constant military presence ensured silence. With Jorvik secured, Ivar and the great heathen army pushed deeper into England, pressing into Mercia, eyeing Wessex. What began as vengeance was now an empire in the making. Ivar the Boneless didn't just fight with blades. He wielded fear like a weapon. His violence was symbolic, designed to leave psychological scars. Executions like the Blood Eagle weren't just punishments, they were messages. Churches burned, kings broken, and entire cities silenced. All became part of the performance. Ivar turned war into theater. His enemies didn't just fear his army, they feared him. Stories of his cruelty raced through England, transforming him into a living nightmare, the Viking boogeyman. He didn't need to kill everyone to win. He made them believe resistance was pointless, and that was victory. Ivar the Boneless didn't just conquer a city, he rewrote the fate of a kingdom. The Siege of York marked the rise of Norse England and the beginning of Viking rule. In the end, it wasn't just warriors that won York, it was fear itself.